Hey guys, back again. Now, this is what we're going to do. This is a simple landing page, but this is not only, in order to see how we can do this, but this has to be with the new React router hooks that we have. So I built this in order for us to have a working example on how to use the React router hooks. So if I go to get in touch, it's going to redirect me. So it's going to go to contact. All this is being used hooks, the new hooks. And I have something, okay. This is just simple. Send message, and if I open the DevTools, you can see that it's sending email. It says sending email. I have a project on which you can build a Node API and actually send an email using the Mailjet service. So if you want this to work properly, just follow that and implement it. I should leave the playlist in the comments, in the description, sorry. So I can go back and I have one more here. So we can say all this has a purpose on which we're going to see how we can build with the new React hooks. So you can see it says thanks with the email. So it actually adds the email there. We grab it and we pass some information so we can just show that. So also it's kind of responsive. I didn't go all the way. You can just go all the way if you want to. Okay, so it's going to break a little bit here, and also the main title. So I already have the media queries, and this should be moved downwards, so this doesn't look like it's part of the image, and that's it. Of course, set the correct size of the images, but this is just an example. If you want to, you will get the files, and if you want to, you can just change or implement whatever you want inside this. So yeah, so if you want more React content, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and that is how I know that you really want this content. So let's close this actually. So I don't have anything else to say to show you, just this that you can see just before we move on. We have the lane, the action, the location, the reference, the action, the path name. Okay, that there's a hook for that, but in this case we're not going to use it because I will show you why. And so this is all from the React router. So let's just close. No, let's just actually go to React router. I think it's this one. I'm using Edge Chromium, so we go to the web. So I already have this created. You can use npx. Okay, let me show you just in case you don't know. So create React app. Let's just go here. Create a new React app. So okay, this is how you're going to create it. npx create React app and the name of your app. In this case, the name of my app is new React router. This is just was created a few minutes ago, and I have this, but we're not going to go in depth into this. You can see that it's only, so let's just preview this. This is only, okay, so this should be below this, but okay, doesn't matter. This is just a design that I made in order to see what I wanted, how I wanted to implement this. Okay, so I'm not even using the same font. This is only for me to see what I could do in terms of the design. You know, these things are kind of trendy now, so I just decided to do it. And let me just give you a hint. But again, tell me in the comments if you want Adobe XD tutorials so we can create this. And in this case we created that in React, okay, but we can do the same with Angular and maybe with Vue later. So tell me in the comments if you want this, so for me to know. But what I did is just I added these random shapes. This one is coming from a set of illustrations that is a I should have done this before, sorry, but let me just go into my design templates, and I have all these that I downloaded from the web. So this one that I think is Smash Illustrations, ready to use scenes, PNG for me to see, and it's one of these. I've used this one before, this set of illustrations. So what I just did is just to grab the SVG and move it to the Adobe XD, and just grab the part, for example, this one. This is just an SVG. There's another file, another folder with the SVGs, and this is all a group. So I just ungroup all those, sorry, and just grab the one I wanted, and that's it. So let me just close that, and added a little shape there. Also, I just added some shapes there for this to look a little better. And I didn't even finish that because I already had the what I wanted to do. And just group this. So these are three different shapes. Just group those and go to export selected, export those, and just grab this one and export those. Just one tip: if you you can see that this is actually a figure, so you will need to crop that or mask it. So that's just a tip. And let's just do that. And I have those because I know people will want to know how to get those. So let me just show you. These are the SVGs, React landing page, and group 3 I think is the other one. So this is how it looks exported. You can see that it's bigger because this is a different screen size and the React landing page. So that's it. If you want me to go more in depth with this, how to do everything, just let me know in the comments. But now it's time to start with this. So if you already created that, so let me just Control C this because this is my last project, the one we were checking. Okay, so it's this one. So if I refresh, the server is dead, so you can see that we cannot access that. But if you have created this, let's just grab that inside public, not public, sorry, inside source. We're going to move what we got and just place, okay. It added a copy, I don't know why. Okay, sorry, and let's add that, group 3, and let's just delete those in case we need those. We're just going to export them again. So those need to be inside the source. Okay, just keep an eye on that. And if we say git bash here and say npm start, okay, let's wait for that to start. And let's actually, okay, so actually I can close that and I can just refresh this. So it's still kind of working on that. So let's open now this one, and you can see, okay, so this is the other one, and you can see that this is the main thing that you see when you create a new application. But let's just focus now. Okay, so this one is the other one. let's just implement or install the React router. What we're going to do is say npm install React router DOM. So we just grab this, copy it, and paste it inside git bash. Okay, you can see it down here. Let's hit enter in order for this to install, and let's move that so we can actually start working with what we have. So I will try to make this faster. We already spent a lot of time explaining how the shapes were introduced. So let's open this with VS Code. It opens on my other screen, so it's opening. And we need to do something. We need to go to index.js. Okay, you can see that this is already set. The React Router DOM is already set. So let me just go to the page. Again, I'm using Chromium if you see something weird with this. And you can see they actually show you how to import the browse router as router, the switch, route, and link. But this is not something that we're going to do in our real projects. We're going to implement it inside the index and then use the hooks in the corresponding components. So let me just say again npm start for us to have the server running, and here we're going to do the next. We're going to say, okay, it opens again. This is something that I don't like. Okay, let's just refresh and this should be fine. So if you are already if you have worked already with the browser router, you can actually understand this. So we implement or we import browser router, and from React router, sorry, just that my dog is okay. So now we need to wrap our application. Let's say browser router. Let's just grab this, cut it, and place it below. So our application is going to be wrapped inside this browser router. Okay, so let's just save that. And since it's already installed, it should work. So now what we need to do is to create a new inside the source. Let's actually create that right now, even though we don't have that. But let's just say routes. Do I have it like that? Yeah, routes.js. And okay, that's my dog. Sorry about that. So she's right besides me. So routes, and okay, so we still don't have the components. So let's just create those. A folder with the components. Okay, and we're going to have three components, which are the main.js, the contact.js, and the thanks.js. Okay, so let's actually build something here inside the main. So of course we're going to use routers. Just let me start with this. So I don't have the which one is this? Okay, so landing page. So this one should be renamed. So let's say rename to hero, and this one should be renamed as, okay, so we can leave it like that because this one, what we're going to do is to set it as the background. These are the three shapes that we exported. So okay, so let's start with the main. We will work inside the routes in a little so let's just keep those there. So we actually need to set the components first so it doesn't break. So that's why I'm doing this. So we're going to import the hero from hero SVG, which is the file. Okay, let me just, why is not, okay, which is this file. Okay, okay, sorry, I cannot speak. And we need now, well, let's just leave this here, so we can say constant main. Okay, so we have already this, and let's say export. It's export default, right? I cannot type. Nice. Okay, so we export that so we can use it. So let's just grab this, go to contact, paste it, remove the hero because we don't need it here. We're going to use this in case we need to add something else. Contact. Then we're going to do it. But of course, contact. I didn't realize these are empty, so let's say return, and let's return our React fragment. React, sorry, it's like this. React that fragment. So let's return something there that it says contact. Contact works. I still don't get used to this keyboard. It's kind of, these keys are kind of hard. And let's just do the same here. Okay, sorry, we need first to say return, and let's just do this. Yep, so let's move this a little bit just for the sake of it, and this one is main. So we have everything working, and we start with the routes. So we need this, and let's just grab this one and paste it and change this to be thanks, and let's say thanks work. Thanks works, and let's change this to thanks. Okay, so we actually have the three components. Let's go to routes and let's add what we need. So let me just import this. We're going to import React from React and switch and route from React Router DOM. So below this, we're going to add the components. Later, we will see lazy routing with React. Okay, so this is not being lazy loaded. So this is being, everything is being loaded as it is. So we will see that later. Don't worry too much about that. So components main. Okay, it actually tells me the name. And let's just say import. Okay, let me just copy those because you should actually know how to do this. Contact and thanks from components, contact and thanks. And we will need to add the routes here. So let's say constant routes. And this one is a function. And no, it's just this parenthesis. So since we're importing switch and route, we're going to say switch. And we're going to wrap our routes with the exact path that we want to match. So this is the first or the main route, and the component that we want to use wrapped inside these curly braces. So this is the same syntax that we used before in the older versions. So let me just copy that, paste it, and here the difference is that we're going to set the path to be contact, the component to match what we want, which is contact, and this one is going to be thanks, and the component that we want to match followed by a parameter that we're going to pass, that in this case is name or email or whatever. Let's say name, and we need to actually, let's add a semicolon there just for good luck, and export default the routes. Okay, so that should be it. So let's just go here and okay, let me just add inside the app.js. Let me just grab that so we can change everything that we need. We have the logo, which we don't need. And we have the CSS, which we don't need now. So let's say import routes. So let's import the routes that we just created from the routes. And we're going to say, let me just copy that. Well, no, let me just type it. Import link from React Router DOM. Let's add some space in there. From React Router DOM. And that's it. So let me just see what I have there. Okay. Let me just remove all this. We have the div class name app and we only need that. So I'm going to add the div class name container. Remember that this is kind of a landing page, although there will be problems with SEO or SEO, but remember that this is only for their routers. If you want to, what you could do if you want to use this as a landing page, okay, and be ranked by Google, then you can change this or grab all the CSS and classes and pass them to Next.js. Next.js is something that we're going to check later. Okay, so we will have that in the channel pretty soon, in a couple of weeks. So if you want to wait for that, so let's say constant. We're actually going to say right now path and set path. So this is not well, let's say that we're going to make this work with most of the things that you're going to require. That's why this might be 1 hour of tutorial. So, but I want to set it all in one go. And we already did this one before. Okay, if you haven't checked my other tutorials, too bad. But we have done this before. So we're going to load, we're going to wait for this, and then inside this function, what we're going to do, we can just skip the loaded because we can actually set that here right away. So we're going to check if okay, but there's something missing here. Let me just add it. So we're going to use the first hook, that is use history. You can see that we have use params, use route match, and use location. So we're going to use the first use history. And for this, we need to create a constant that is history equals to use history. Okay, this is the first hook that we're going to use. And we're going to put it to work right away. So we're going to say window. So what we're going to do, we're going to check for the window load event and say window location. We need to check the location on which we are because there's a okay, I don't have that. Well, because we don't want to show an item in the navigation bar when we are on the contact. So if we are in the contact page or in the contact form, we don't want to show above in the navigation a link to the contact form since we are already there. So this is going to take care of that. Equals, okay, contact, and we're going to set the path using the use state to window that location name. So we're going to check every time location, let's say location that path name. We're going to check where we are, and according to that we will hide or show the item that we need. So let's say constant check path because we already have the routes added. So if you're a newbie about React, go check the other courses that will show you how to work with hooks and Redux and Context API. I have a version for everything that we need. And then come back here and just learn how to use the new hooks for the React router. So history, remember that we have this constant on line 7, the history. So history that we have now a listen event here. Well, we always had that, but now we can use the hook in order to access that. And we're going to say, hey, check the location and set path to the location name. So we're going to check here every time the location name. So that's why we have this check path. And for that to work, we need to say or to import the use effect. So let's save that and say use effect. Yep, okay. And we have a function inside. Let's just tap that. So it's kind of indented. And here we use checkpath as a function. So this function is going to run every time. And for this, to avoid changing everything or refreshing every time we change something, we're just going to set an empty array, and that would be it. So below this, so you can see we still don't have what we are going to add inside the container, but all this is needed before that. So let's say constant show at, well, not show that, well, show contact. Let's just set it there and set equal to path. Let's add let's say underscore contact. This should be fine. And if show contact is not equals to contact, so if we are on a page that is not the contact, then we're going to say underscore contact is going to be equals to, we need to wrap those inside this parenthesis. Let me just copy this, because I copied this one from another one. It just has this ID, forgot to remove that. So we're going to say a list and a link to the contact and the contact me in actual text. So now we need to set a new navigation. Let me just copy that and paste it. You will see what I mean. So we have a new navigation with 2 ULs, okay, and this one is just for the React router, okay, or let's say new React router is going to go to the main route, and here we're going to add or not the underscore contact, and that should be fine. So let's take a look at this. So use state is not defined on app.js line 8, it seems. So I'm using use state and I don't have that. That seems to be the problem. Okay, so we have the React router and contact me. You can see that because we have okay, so this is actually not working. So why is not working? Okay, this is weird. You just refresh this. Okay, since we're on contact, it's not going to show that. But this is kind of not working. So let me just go to main and okay. Sorry about that. It's just that I forgot to set. So we have that. Okay, below the navigation, sorry, I just realized that I have the routes and we need to import them. Well, we already have that imported, but we need to set them for React to use them. Okay. I was like, why is not showing that? But this is something that we have to do. So let's say you can see it's working, but this is not changing for some reason. It changes if I refresh. So let me just check this. If it's not equal to contact and window location path name, so the load check path, listen to the location, set path to the location, sorry, path name, okay, and this should work. Refresh that, go back, and you can see it works. Sorry about that. I thought I wrote path name, but seems I didn't. So okay, but now everything is working, and we have the routes. The first route, you can see that it wasn't too bad. It's the same syntax, okay, with the link, but in this case we're using the use history in order to grab the listen method or the listen event and check the path name, so we can inside the use effect detect where we are and check if we are inside the contact. So if we are inside the contact, then we are going to hide the contact, which is this link. That's what we have here. And if not, then we are just going to place it there. So now we can go to the main. I think I'm going to cut this into maybe 2 parts. Let me just check. Yeah, because it's kind of, or maybe more, because this is kind of long. I just wanted to do something that you can actually use and you can actually learn from it, not just some stupid thing that is not going to show you the real stuff of what you need to do. So from React Router again, we are now inside the main.js, and here we are just going to set the constant. So we're going to say joined. This should take more than 2 videos, but well, set join. I will, in that case, I will just add the playlist for you to check. So the user state is going to be just this empty string, and we are going to say again the constant history, which is going to use the history hook. So you can see that we don't have anything here. So let's actually add that. Let's say header. Let me just copy that and paste it. So this is the main, and I just want the header to be shown or displayed in the main. So view and word wrap. So we have this header with the image of source hero and the div. So let's save this and let's see how this looks. And you can see the image is pretty big. So let me just close that. We don't need that. And we have this link to contact, which is the get in touch. So if we click this, we're going to go to the contact. You can see everything is working. This is just a simple what the hell? This is just a simple link that we are used to work with. So I just added a title. We build and design web application, so you can see that, and I added just a little description just to make it look more like a landing page. So now we're going to set a main. So this should be okay. Let's say main, and let's add a section with the class name of services, and let me just grab this h2 and say why we should work together, something like that. Maybe this is kind of like, well, yes, it's a landing page, a kind of portfolio or something like that. I don't know. So, or however you want to use it. So below this, we're going to say div class name equals to service container and we're going to add a div here, which is going to be the image that we are going to show. Display name equals service card, something like that, and service one. Okay, so this is not going to have any actual content, but later we will add a div with the class name CO service description, just to have all those okay, and this one is actually going to have some content. Let me just copy that, an h3 and a lorem ipsum inside a div. So let's just tap this and let's just keep that one. So this is what we're going to add. You can see this is the h2 and I'm going with the h3 inside those just to make it you know, better in order of hierarchical you know, flow. And we do the same. So let me just add some space in there, scroll a little bit, and we're going to do the same with the other one. So let me just tap this and this should be fine. So this one is another service container with the services card and service 2, because we're going to change the name of this class so we can add the background image. And the service description, you can see clear and optimized code, something like that. And we add another one below this, service container again, services card with the service 3 class here, just to change the name and set the new background, support 24 hours, and again more lorem ipsum. You can see how this looks. And I have just a new section below this. So all this is just simple HTML markup and CSS. So let me just say this one, join our newsletter to get the latest trends. I don't know, something like that. And what we're going to do now, let's just add this by hand. Form class newsletter equals newsletter, and in the onSubmit we're going to say use the join function that we're going to add in a second. So we already have the set the join and set join. So let me just copy the what we're going to do. All this is simple React, of course. So input, type email, the placeholder is your email, goes here. On change, we're going to set the value of the input email inside the join variable that we have. So we store that in the state, and this input with the value submit join, which is the what the hell, the type submit, sorry. So right now it's telling us that we don't have anything that is called a join. So constant equal, okay, no, constant equal, what the hell, constant join is going to be a function. So let me just get there. I thought I set this as async, but I didn't. So event that prevent default for us not to reload the page when we hit the submit button. So we're going to check if join is not equals, just a simple validation. We're going to check forms later how to do this with a different package. So we're going to say let today new date. So here we're going to use the second, well, not the second, but a part that now allows us to send some information to the next component using the React Router DOM. So let date equal to today that get full. Let me just copy this. I don't know why I'm freaking typing this. This is just plain JavaScript in order to get and to pass the date. So we create a new date, and from there we get the full year separated by this dash. We get the month plus 1 because it's a 0 index, and we separate again with a dash, and we get the date, which is the day. So yep, and you can see that we already have this constant history that is using our history hook. So what we're going to do is say history that push. We have this push, so it's going to allow us to move to the next page, and we're going to say thanks. So this is kind of at the thanks page. So okay, so this one is using backticks. Just got that and paste it so we can use the variable. So remember that the thanks is using this name, so we're going to send that using join, and join is going to be the email, and here we can have a new part which is the state. So I can remember if this was already in the last version, but now if it wasn't there, we can pass a part of the state inside this, so we are going to receive it in the other component. So we have this, but for this to work, let me just check the time for it to, well, let's just go to the things and finish the things. So we move the contact form to its own video. Let's just grab this, copy and paste. Okay, so we're going to use the use params, which is how to use the parameters with the React hooks, the React router hooks, and use history again. So we're going to say constant history equals use history and constant name from use params. So what we're going to do here is to grab this hook, and from the hook type the name of the parameter that we want to have. So let me go to routes, and you can see that the name of this is name. So we just specify that here. Let's just add a space there, and from there we can actually say constant history sorry, not constant history, console.log history, for you to see in what this is returning. And what I'm going to do is say just div class name equal to thanks, and in order to work with what we have, this is just pretty simple. We want to show or display the name or email. So we're going to say paragraph, thanks, and surrounded with these strong tags, the name using these curly braces, as you are going to set interpolation with React. And so we have, let me just explain this, use location, but inside the history we have the location actually stored, so we can grab that. That's why I'm using history here. So let me just paste that, and we're going to say you join from the history location, and that location contains the part of the state that we are sending. So let's go back to the main and see that we are sending this date, which is actually what we have here on line 15. So we are going to grab that using the hooks, the history hooks, grabbing the location property which is inside, instead of using use location, because there's no need of using that, since we can grab that from the history, and grabbing the state that we have there. And also let me just copy all this. This is just in case you want to show a message or something like that. Let's say view and toggle over wrap. This is kind of disclaimer saying, okay, you will receive news about this, that, and you know, all that crap that usually people send. So let's save that, and let's actually, you can see how this is, how this looks. Okay, so if I say we are down way below, okay, let me just do this so we can just scroll and we can see we have that Aldocava at Hotmail. If you have any requests or anything like that, you can, this is my email, you can just send me an email with your doubt or anything. I'm open to that. And you can see we have this Aldocava and we have this email here too. We have you join blah 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 blah, and we have the disclaimer, and we can go back. Okay, so this was a ton. Let's just leave this part here and continue in the next video.